Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's lair. I'm your host, Larry, the most delectable spacefaring Chupacabra, and we're back today to check out another game up on Kickstarter, looking to get funded so that they can bring their full vision to fruition. We're checking out Convicted Galaxy. And Convicted Galaxy is a game that's made by three gentlemen, a part of Mindgrown Studios. And this is a game that's all about being a roguelike, procedurally generated space adventure where we are a space warden. We're a prison warden, and we have been assigned to this prison transport. And somewhere along the way, into the far-off reaches of this other galaxy, presumably on like the frontier of human development, otherwise I'm not sure why you'd have just like a penal colony in a whole different galaxy unless you've already started doing stuff there. And there's been like a riot, or some people have gotten loose. Probably that Dick Steve was falling asleep at his desk again, not watching the security cameras. And all the prisoners have gotten out, and they've grabbed anything they can, any ship that they can to escape. And now we have to fight for our lives to escape this galaxy and get back to civilization, all while trying not to get murdered by a bunch of criminals because, you know, like serial killers, murderers, rapists, and that guy Hank, who does all those evil, like, robocalls at 2 in the morning. He's a real monster, that Hank. All that telemarketing business. These people are all looking to murder us if they find us because, you know, I'm a guard. I used to be their tormentor in some respect. And they probably want nothing more than to string my organs up all about the cabins of their ships to show who's the toughest guy on the block. So before I get into too much of the nitty-gritty, let's just go and explore the game with a fresh instance of the playthrough. So yeah, as you see, like, all of these different ships are flying off from the main vessel. Everyone's just escaping, and the primary prison barge has blown up or something. So now we've been left adrift in some unknown solar system, or maybe it was known, but that was on the navigation for our primary prison ship. Now, the only thing that we've got to help us are a bunch of these disabled ships that we can use our tractor beams to crack open and find resources, little experience orbs to level our little ship, because we need lots of levels to stay alive here and upgrade our vessel. And it also comes with a number of mission logs, and like a lot of games tend to do, they've got different sort of computer files that you find when you scan these ships that tell you like what the different people were doing to create weapons from these little escape ships, because I'm guessing most of these were just transport ships used to move prisoners around. So you get things like this EMP overload, which unlocks the utility hull version of our ship. And the EMP overload is basically some guy discovered that you can overload the electrical system and bypass it to a spare power core, creating a large EMP surrounding the vessel. The EMP overload does not affect the main vessel that discharges the blast due to a reversed phased thingamabopper that is forced through the system during the EMP blast itself. I need a lot of power cores to perfect it though. And so I thought this was kind of cool. This is like people trying to find whatever Star Trek methods they can to survive, because not only are they an evil criminal, but the other criminals probably want to murder them and take their ship too, or their parts at least. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to try out the utility hull. Normally I go with the speed hull, which this one lets us deploy like a decoy, a holographic decoy. Then you've also got the combat hull that you can use your Q ability, which is your specialty ability, which uses power cores to deploy like little close-range drones. Didn't like those so much because typically if you get close enough to an enemy to use your drones effectively, the AI right now is a little too accurate at close range for my taste. By which I mean it literally just kind of murders my face. And then this other hull over here, which is still locked, this one actually gives you like a gravity well bomb that sucks in ships so you can use like one missile to obliterate all of them. But I think we're going to try the EMP hull, which will allow us to absorb this little power core here. And now if we want to deploy it, we can simply hit Q, which EMPs the surrounding area, and I found this to be one of the more overpowered abilities. I haven't tried it yet, but the enemies that have used it on me have murdered my face a couple of times, which I was not a big fan of. So, one thing you might notice about this game, if you've seen other videos of it, is all of these different solar systems are in fact procedurally generated. So when I first started playing, I started with a white dwarf star in the middle of the system, and this one appears to have a pair of stars or suns in the middle of this system. This is the lemon-lime star system, and if we can find Coca-Cola's secret recipe in one of these derelict ships, we might actually be able to start a new franchise. And because, you know, this is a completely different galaxy, I don't think standard trademark copyright rules apply. So, basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just looking for any more of these little abandoned derelict ships because they're going to have plenty of goodies that we're going to need if we want to survive out here. Fortunately, we've also kind of gotten the attention of the local orange faction of prisoners. Looks like the Murdertrons out here in the wild blue yonder have started to form their own coalitions of douchebags. And they don't really like me existing, because I'm not flying the right color. I'm flying like a light kind of teal blue, which is actually the color for my Chupacabra lair branding, so that actually works out perfectly. So I'm just gonna kill these guys, because oh, are you trying to escape me, Timmy? No, 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 no. I want to murder you and steal your parts. Alright. Run from me, you scoundrels, you wussies. So yeah, we're just trying to gather up both experience to upgrade our ship and get things like better missiles and better lasers, but also we're looking to get some more materials so that we can build really cool space stations. So one of the things that you can do in this game is you can orbit these planets, and after you've sort of, you know, set an orbit without being in combat and surveyed them, you can hit the number 1 button, and for 100 of your scrap, you can build a space station. Now, technically speaking, we're trying to escape this galaxy, so I'm hoping that when this game gets into like a fuller state of release, if it goes into a fuller state of release, that eventually how these space stations are supposed to work gets a little bit better explained. Because, I mean, you'd think a big space station like this would require a large amount of people in order to populate it and to run it and all of that stuff. And it's kind of a dick move to try to escape, you know, this galaxy, to then start a family, set up shop, and then just abandon everybody. But one of the other routes that story stuff could take is perhaps this is a case where one of the fellow guards that you have on your ship that kind of, you know, escaped with you, maybe his shtick is, before he was in charge of maintaining the prison barge, maybe he worked as like a Federation engineer working on automated stations and stuff, which would explain where he has the technical expertise in order to build, you know, automated systems like this. So what you're doing then is you're just building temporary facilities to give you more resources while you slowly try to escape the area. Kind of like in Star Trek Voyager, where they were all just, you know, getting resources to keep the ship running so that they could escape. The other thing I think might be interesting is, like, where was the prison ship going? Because the prison ship has to have been going somewhere. Is there, like, a colony out here that you were heading towards? And if so, maybe one of the procedurally generated story options that you could run into in the game would be that you have to help defend the prison. That way, you know, more prisoners don't escape, making it harder for you to survive. But maybe if you fail to protect it, then, you know, certain galaxy or certain systems within your galaxy are more dangerous, or the prisoners are more advanced than they were before. All that stuff could be great. So what I'm doing right here is, in order to get some free scrap here and there... Oh, don't shoot my station, you butthole. I've actually deployed a bunch of harvesters to the planet, which should hopefully give me a bunch of free scrap periodically, which will make my job a lot easier for gathering up materials. So that's one of the things you get from these different sort of bases that you build, is you get the ability So you can just have passive income generated, or passive building material that you can then use to upgrade both yourself and other facilities. And this stuff, I'm guessing, is all pretty much automated. Like, I've got these repair satellites that I'm spawning. And these things use, like, little lasers to deploy nano beams. And then this place will also provide me with fuel if I'm running low in between different battles. So let's see about doing some upgrades here. So let's have the ability to have some more missiles. First and foremost, because those are one of the best, most heavy-hitting things in our arsenal. And then let's go agitate some more space pirates, because basically if you're a prisoner and you've commandeered an official vessel out in the middle of nowhere, that basically makes you a pirate. A space pirate. And I want to touch all the space pirate butts that I can because I need their organs to live. It's kind of like Metroid Prime in my mind, where I use, like, biological material to then, you know, upgrade my ship and other defenses by, like, duct taping a bunch of spleens together. Yeah, that stands up to scrutiny pretty well. Unfortunately, we've run out of gas, which means we can't finish jetting really quickly to this planet, which is one of the downsides to having an unupgraded ship, for the most part. And if you look out there closer to these pirate-infested planets, you'll see these little red glowy things. Those are actually little proximity mines that if you run into them, you'll die. And like most roguelikes, if you get murdered in this game, you are dead for good. You have to start all the way over no matter how upgraded you are. But I feel like if you spent a lot of resources, like if you got a lot of resources later in the game, I feel like it wouldn't be completely unreasonable to have the ability to have, like, spare ships that join you. Like, maybe you can run into other people from, like, the Space Federation that are friendly to you, that used to be a part of, like, the ship escorting the main vessel. And then they could then, you know, join with you, and if one of your ships died, you have a second ship somewhere that your people could all rendezvous with, and you wouldn't die instantly. Alternatively, maybe you could build a base that's awesome enough that it has, like, a cloning bay or something. I don't know. That could definitely be an option. So now we've got another little base, but I want to upgrade this once I can so that it can defend itself, because we're getting pretty close to pirate-controlled space right now. So I'm going to want to, as soon as I can, upgrade this puppy so that I have a bunch of defense lasers. And a couple of more repair bots, and then let's see what it's going to take me to upgrade this. So we're going to need 300 scrap, then 400 scrap. All right. So let's see here. What else have we got going? We have one upgrade available for our ship. I think for that one, we're going to want to upgrade to the shotgun. So one of the other things I really like about this style of a game is that I'm not the best kind of gamer, or not a very skilled gamer, when it comes to playing flight simulator games, because once you get good at it and you kind of stop for a while, it's one of those genre of games that's difficult to pick back up again on a whim. And this is a game that kind of removes a lot of the issues of the standard, you know, dogfighting, where you're on a single flat plane, you just have to worry about your proximity to enemies and avoiding missile fire. And rather than worrying about, say, having the computer show you where to aim to sort of lead your shots so that they eventually hit a target, you instead get things like the shotgun blast, which kind of remove that as a necessary component. You can also... Uh-oh, we got incoming. So that kind of gives you the ability, and hopefully they continue to add different upgrades sort of like that, so you can go down different tech trees to customize your playstyle so that you can maybe be like a brawler shit that gets right in their face and murders them. Or, you know, maybe something else. All sorts of options for ship spec would be great. Let's upgrade this to level 2, and then let's just shimmy right up to this bad boy. Alright, that's what I love. Right there. Just tore him a new one, EMP'd his face, and then he is just left out in the middle of nowhere with no power, no shield, and I can just tear him apart if I want to. And that little fire that you just saw right there, when I got real close to that guy, it looked like a bunch of little white lines. That's what the little drones do, but unfortunately you have to be very close for those to come in handy. So now that we've upgraded our base, we can now deploy a series of defensive turrets. And these are basically just floating satellites that are just gonna maul the shit out of anybody who comes close to our little base. And defend it. So there you go, here's a little laser just zipping by. And so that's just like a particle cannon that just floats out in space, murdering things. Love those spicy devils. And let's go ahead, since we have the ability to have constantly recharging missiles, let's just continue to maul the area as we build up a more constant source of scrap income. So the other thing that they're looking to build into this game is some additional story that can be randomly generated and neatly, you know, added on to your gameplay as you try to explore this galaxy and escape it. Different technology and buildings that you can build. And I'm also hoping that they allow you to upgrade to like a really big dreadnought-like vehicle. Because I think it'd be cool that if one of the stories was like, maybe this is like the frontier of different warring factions of humanity fighting over the years. And maybe one of the deals is that there's like an old derelict military base that allows you to kind of cobble together enough technology to build a small dreadnought ship, where you murder the shit out of people with like a military ship. That way, you know, as you kind of find new and better stuff, it both gives the enemy the ability to kind of build up better defenses, but it also gives you more leeway to have really cool murdery ships and feel maybe not like a badass because you're kind of duct taping a bunch of technology together that you didn't develop, but maybe like a fancy marauding pirate person. That would be great. Just the fanciest. So I'll destroy that guard. Uh-oh. There's a lot of enemies nearby. I think they're playing with somebody else out in the middle of the asteroid belt, so I'm gonna finish mauling this space station to death right here. And once this is dead, I'll be able to take over this planet and use all the scrap that my other bases are generating to use this as a place of origin to then take over this little area. So I just need to defend this while it constructs. Come on, kill that. Yes! Delicious. In fact, I'm gonna upgrade a little bit. Let's upgrade our plasma damage and our rate of fire, and let's also get some better shielding. There we go. Perfect. So now that we've got a station, let's upgrade that to level 1, and let's just build a whole boatload of laser stations. And as you can see, this is the easiest way to take over a new area, is to just take over a planet right next to some other ones, sneak in a base, and start mauling everybody. So this type of a game could take a lot of directions, and one of the things I'm looking to do is actually have a interview with the developers, because they have a Discord server, which they've invited people to, and I think I'm gonna hang out with them, have a little chat, and see where they see the future of Convicted Galaxy headed one way or the other. What sort of things they've always wanted to add to it, along with some of the things that might get added depending on how things go with their Kickstarter. So I think all that stuff will end up being pretty cool. Okay, so let's see about let's upgrade our shipping again. Let's build, let's hold some more fuel so we can go further between, bases. Let's build some more repairs. And then let's look at upgrading this base all the way so that we can build a radio. And what a radio is going to do is it's going to open up a teleportation spot inside of this solar system so that we can go to a new solar system and eventually slowly suss out how we might be able to escape this galaxy. Although it looks like the rebel fleet is basically throwing all of their forces against us. Unfortunately for you guys, I've got a really mean, nasty defense grid built that is going to rip you a new one. So prepare your butts, gentlemen. You're gonna get touched. Actually, what is going on over here? Oh, there's just a bunch of you guys trying to be buttholes. Alright, just maul you to death. get all your resources. So yeah, once I've got this fully built and fully upgraded, I can build a radio, kind of like a radio telescope more than an actual radio. Because obviously I can communicate with my bases throughout the system to see what they're doing right now. But what it does allow me to do is figure out where other star systems are, so that I can go visit them safely without exploding in the vacuum of space. Because I've got DVR episodes to watch when I get home. My cat, George, has been alone with that robot butler I bought to take care of him while I was gone. And he eventually is going to start scratching up the couch, and I don't want him to do that. It's a very nice couch. I also got it on Craigslist, and I kind of want to keep it. So there we go. We have built a radio, like right here, a little radio telescope. And we have unlocked, if we look at the map, a little beacon point right over here where we can actually take that to another system once we're ready and go explore that. And I haven't actually done that yet. I've mostly just been enamored with building more and more bases and upgrading them and getting more and more scrap so that I can take over the universe. It's probably the inner supervillain in me coming out occasionally. So, I could take over more stuff, but I think we're kind of getting long in the tooth for this episode, checking out this game. So I'm just gonna gather up enough resources to eventually escape the system. So, where is our new exit point? It's right next to our other bases. Perfect. So we'll just jet over here. And we built a couple generators over here, and these will be supplying our ship with extra power cores. So let's suck up a couple power cores. I guess I'm full up on power for right now. But if this guy provides us with more XP, then perhaps if we kill a couple more of these, we'll be able to safely escape the system. So I've got 3 power cores. That's probably enough to get out of this system. So let's fly ourselves over here, and let's go visit a new location. Actually, let's go stop off at this planet to kind of top off our fuel a little bit, so we have a little bit when we enter the next system, because you never know where it's going to kick you out. Alright. Off we go. Where we stop, the developers know. Minegrown knows, but Larry doesn't. Larry's going to get touched by space, probably. Alright, we're warping to Deltiri. Oh, is there more? I thought maybe they'd give me like, this is up on Kickstarter right now. Come check us out, kind of a message. Which would be the trolliest shit. Alright, so we got a gatherer here, which I'm going to murder. From a distance, because he can eat my shield. I don't know why the gatherers are so dangerous. It seems weird. You'd think they'd be among the weakest, and they'd need, like, guards or something. So yeah, we're in another randomly spawned system with a bunch of random planets. This is great. I can't wait for this game to come out in its full version. Hopefully they get funded on Kickstarter so that there isn't any delays in development. But you never really know. It looks like I'm still getting income from my other bases back at the other planets. That's pretty cool. So I guess I'll start building up a base here in this system and trying to escape the convicted galaxy. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. I hope you've enjoyed this little preview of this game, currently up on Kickstarter. I'm gonna talk to the developers, do a little interview later this week, and I'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check this game out for yourselves. The links are down in the description. And it's looking to get about 10 grand to finish its development and to get published and to pay all those fees to get up onto the different platforms. And for just the low cost of like even just $9, you can get a copy of this game once it's done and out into full release. So I think that's more than worth your time. So I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. Don't forget to like and subscribe, check out the game, and I'll catch you next time. Toodles, everybody, and have a good one.